Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. So today I'm going to talk about banking system here in Vietnam and what bank I think is best for foreigner and what is the most cost-effective way to transfer US dollar from US bank into Vietnam bank. Okay, so before I get into the main topic of this video, I'm going to tell you where we are right now. So as you can see, we're at the beach, and so this is one of our routine exercise here in Da Nang. So sometimes we walking on the beach like this, sometimes we ride bicycle, and sometimes we swim at the beach. So the street from our apartment that goes straight to the beach, I use that as the point of reference. So sometimes we go north from the street from our apartment, and sometimes we go south of the from the street from our apartment. And today we went south of the street from our apartment. So we went south already. Now we're on the way back to our apartment, so we're going north right now. Okay, so as you're listening to my talk about the banking system here in Vietnam, you could enjoy the beautiful view of the ocean, but also please pay attention on the left side. You will see different vendors that serving food, cocktails, and also they have lounge chairs and things like that. And this beach right here is very popular for the expat people. It's called My Khê, which is the 6th most beautiful beaches in the world, and that was ranked by Forbes magazine. Okay, so that's the beach right now. I'm walking right now north. I'm going north to the street to my apartment, and my apartment on the right side. At the end, you will see what I'm talking about. Alright, so enjoy watching the video as I'm talking about the bank here in Vietnam. So before we come to Vietnam, so I was looking for some bank, like US bank that also have bank here in Vietnam. So I have found out that in Vietnam they have Chase Bank and Citibank. However, they only in Saigon and in Hanoi, and we knew that we only stay here in Da Nang. So the only US bank that in Da Nang is the HSBC, the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Central. And we were living in Columbus, Ohio, so there's no HSBC bank branch in Columbus, and the closest one it was in Washington DC. So one day I have an opportunity to visit my friend in DC in 2021, and we went there, and at the same time we also stopped by at an HSBC bank to inquire about opening a bank in Washington DC branch. So we went there to the HSBC bank in Washington DC, and and we told the banker like our vision that we're moving to Vietnam, to Da Nang, Vietnam in 2022, and we was thinking to open an HSBC bank and see if we could transfer funds from the US bank into the HSBC bank in Vietnam. And the short answer is no. We cannot do that with the regular checking account. And the banker stated that the HSBC bank in Vietnam is almost like a separate business entity. It's not the same, so we cannot like transfer or do business between the US HSBC bank with the HSBC bank in Vietnam. For example, just say I have Bank America in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and I go to California. I could withdraw, deposit, or open, a saving account or CD account in California, I was thinking I could do the same thing like that with the HSBC. If I have the HSBC bank in the state, and I could do the same like similar business transaction, with the HSBC bank in Vietnam. But the short answer is no, we cannot do that. And her reason is she just said that the HSBC bank in Vietnam is a separate business entity. And it's the same thing for Chase Bank or Citibank, whether you have it in US and you open another one in Vietnam. All right, but she said there's one solution that you could do. So instead of open a regular checking account, you could have a premier checking account at HSBC, and then you will have one of the benefits of the premier checking account is that you will have the global relationship, meaning that you could transfer, any fund between any HSBC bank around the world, including Vietnam. But one of the requirements for the premier checking account is that you have to have at least $100,000 value. They maintain at least $100,000 daily to qualify for that premier checking account. The $100,000 assets or value, it could be checking, saving, or could be investment accounts. So I was thinking to open that, with my investment accounts. At the time, I have broker investment account with Charles Schwab, with Merrill Bank, through Bank of America, and also with Fidelity. So she made an appointment to talk to a financial advisor to transfer my investment accounts from those banks that I have into the HSBC so I could qualify for the premier checking account. But when I talked to the financial advisor from the HSBC bank, I have found out that at the time, we were thinking to open the premier checking account in 2021. HSBC did not have the digital platform where you could, sell or buy stock. If you want to buy or sell stock, you have to have a financial advisor that manage your portfolio, and then they could take care of that for you. But they don't have that digital platform where you could sell and buy stock like other, like Fidelity or from Merrill or from Charles Schwab that I used to do that by myself. So for that reason, I did not like it. So I say, okay, forget it. That's, I'm looking for something that I could, have a digital platform. I could do that myself instead of involved with the financial advisor to manage my portfolio. So that did not work out. So I did not open the premier checking account to HSBC. All right. So while we come to here in Vietnam, and then the first thing when I'm thinking to open a bank in Vietnam, I'm looking for two criteria. The bank has to be large, with it had to be a large bank with, great financial balance sheet, including total assets and, total revenue. And the second criteria that I'm looking for is that, good service, good review. So of all the top 5 largest bank in Vietnam, I chose the Techcom Bank. And the reason I chose the Techcom Bank at first because it wins like the best customer service or something like that, for banking in Vietnam. And I think it's also the 3rd largest bank in Vietnam. So I tried to open my account with Techcom Bank. So my intention was to open the bank account at Techcom Bank with Phil. So after they found out that Phil is a foreigner, they don't allow Phil to open a bank account there. However, I'm allowed to open because I have the Vietnam passport. So I cannot even use my US passport neither because, with the Vietnam passport. So basically, they're very strict with foreigner for Techcom Bank. But they're very, they're okay if you have Vietnam passport. So I opened a checking account there with my Vietnam passport. Okay, so I opened there, but that's one thing is good is that they do allow me to have a US account. So I have two checking account. One checking account in Vietnamese dong, and the second account in US dollar. With that US account, I could transfer the money from my US bank into my US bank here at Techcom Bank, and then I could withdraw the US dollar too. Okay, so that's one bank. And recently, about a month ago, we just opened a second bank. It's called Vietcombank, and that is the largest bank here in Vietnam. And the reason we opened the second bank because this bank is very friendly to foreigner. Like Phil could open his account, no issue at all, no problem at all. He did open his own account, and he also have a US dollar account. I also opened an account with them, and I also had the Vietnamese account and also a USD account. So very similar to the Techcom Bank that we first opened. However, you know, with the Vietnam bank here, Vietcombank here is very friendly with foreigner. Okay, so if you're a foreigner, you know, my advice is to open with the Vietcombank. So the Vietcombank here, originally it was established in 1963, and at first it was 100% state-owned. I think in 2017 or 2007, I'm sorry the time frame, but they partially become a joint stock commercial bank, and it's still a majority owned by the state. I think it's 75%, but it's not 100% state-owned right now. At first, I thought, you know, when I heard about state-owned bank, I thought it's very strict. However, it was surprisingly, it was really, really lenient to a foreigner. And as a foreigner, you could open a bank there. You don't have to wait for 12 months. As long as you have a valid visa. And then you could open the bank there with a USD account. So next I'm going to compare between the two banks. So first we know already between the Techcom Bank that I opened and the Vietcombank. So the Vietcombank is very friendly to foreigner. Okay, you cannot open a bank as a foreigner with the Techcom Bank. Okay, but one of the reasons I keep the Techcom Bank because it has a very high interest rate for saving. In a little bit I will show the comparison between the saving or the CD between the Techcom Bank and the Vietcombank. Okay, first I'm going to talk some other difference also too, beside the saving, the interest saving, and also the, you know, the friendliness or the, you know, compared to foreigners. So for the USD account at Techcom Bank, I could only transfer a US fund from the US bank onto the USD account here at Techcom Bank. For the USD account at Vietcombank, I could do the same thing. However, I could also deposit, you know, like cash, the US dollar, but I had to show proof that where the money come from. Just say if I bring 10 US dollar from the US, you know, bring to Vietnam, but I had to go through the custom declare, you know, at the airport, said, hey, I bring this, can you give me a receipt to show that it's my money that I bring it from the US? If I have the receipt, and then I could deposit, you know, that 10,000 US dollar onto this USD account at Vietcombank. And another difference is that the fee transfer is very cheap compared to cheaper at the Vietcombank compared to the Techcom Bank. Okay, so if I transfer the money from US onto the Techcom Bank, there is a fee of 0.5%. Okay, so it's zero, I'm sorry, not 0.5, but 0 I'm sorry, 0.055% to transfer the money with the minimum of $2 and the maximum of $220. That is just the fee to transfer, okay, for the Techcom bank. And also when I withdraw the money, so there is a fee, and the fee is 0.22%. With the minimum of $2 and the maximum of $550. Okay, so that is the fee of transferring in and also withdraw the money in US dollar. And the fee for the transfer money from a US account onto the Vietcombank in USD, the fee is 0.05% instead of 0.55% with the Techcom bank, and the withdrawal fee is 0.15% instead of 0.22% compared to the Techcom bank. Okay, all right. So for example, if I transfer 10,000 US dollars from my Bank of America into US onto the USD account at Vietcombank, they will charge me only $5 fee to receive that money. And if they withdraw the $10,000 withdraw in US dollar, they will charge me $15 US dollar. So the total they charge me, that will be 0.2%. Okay, and that it come out to be $20 US total. Okay, so the fee is very, very cheap. It's only 0.2%. But one of the best benefit is that you're able to withdraw in US dollar. Okay, so there's so many independent brokers that will allow you to transfer money online. There's so many of them, so I don't name them, but some of them, the fee, it range from 0% up into 5%. Okay, but here is the killer, that make you lose a lot of money that you're not aware of. That is the exchange rate fee. Okay, so for example, $1 US is equivalent to 25,000 Vietnamese dong. Okay, that is the rate that if I have that $1 US I exchange at the gold store or at the gold jewelry store. It's very common, people selling the US dollar or buy the dollar at the gold store here in Vietnam. But if you exchange your US dollar through the bank or through that independent dealer or broker online, the exchange rate is very, very low, or it's not favorable to consumer. It's favorable to to the bank or to the broker, the independent broker. So for example, if you exchange $1 US through the online broker or through the bank, instead of 25,000 Vietnamese dong, you might get 23,000 or 24,000 Vietnamese dong. So you lose in percentage. If I talk about percentage, you lose between 4 to 8%. Okay, so just the exchange rate amount, you lose 4 to 8% rate. But if you have a US dollar account, you don't have to worry about that one. You just withdraw the US dollar, go to a gold store and exchange for the best rate. Like to give you an example, $1 US you could sell it at the gold store for 25,000, and they always have the best rate. But they varies between the gold store. They're very competitive, so make sure you go to the one with the high rate. Okay, so if you need the name of the gold store that exchange here in Da Nang, please let me know in the comment, and I will post the address of the gold store where I exchange my US dollar at that location. All right, so sometimes you see that the online brokerage, they advertise, they say, hey, we give you 0% fee for withdraw, to transfer the money. and then with the exchange rate, because when you exchange the online or through the bank, they don't give you the US dollar, they give you the Vietnamese currency, okay? And the exchange rate is very, very low, and you lose up to like 8%. So a lot of people are not aware of that. I know some YouTuber, they have a lot of subscribers, and then they got a sponsorship from one of the online broker, and they advertise and say, hey, you got 0% fee for wire transfer US dollar to this online broker. But they did not know that when they receive the the Vietnamese dong, it's very, very low exchange rate. It's not high like if you do that at the gold store. So that's something please keep in mind. And for that reason, it's best when you come to the US, whether it's a short term or long term, make sure that you have a US dollar account, okay? And you could transfer them easily from the US from a US bank onto your Vietnamese bank, and you're allowed to withdraw US dollar, and then you could sell them at the gold store, okay? And the fee, like I told you already, the one that I have from the Vietcombank, only 0.05% they charge to receive the money, and 0.15% to withdraw. So the whole two percentage combined, the fee combined is only 0.2%. So I did the transfer of 10,000 US dollar. I only paid 20 US dollar, okay? And that's only 0.2%. And I took that money, went to the gold store, and then I get the best rate at the store. So that's my advice when you open the bank here. So once again, for foreigner, go to the Vietcombank. And if you are Vietnamese, American like myself, I have two banks. I have the Techcom Bank. The Techcom Bank is that another benefit for Techcom Bank is that they have a very high interest rate. All right, so now let's talk about the interest rate between two of the bank, okay? All right, so now you can see the interest rate now is the Vietcombank. So from 1 month to either 1 month or 3 months, you got 6%, okay? For 6 months, you got 6.5%. And 9 months you got 6.5%, and 12 months to 24 months you get 7.4%, okay? So it is okay, but it's very low compared to other banks here in Vietnam. All right, now let's take a look at the interest rate at the Techcom Bank that I have, okay? So you will see right there, from 1 month to 5 months I got 6%, but from 6 months to 11 months I got 8.6%, and 12 months to 36 months I got 8.8%, and this interest rate update monthly. So this is the interest rate at the Techcom Bank here for the month of February. So for last month, I think they took this away. They had something less, interest rate less, but the highest one I saw that was in the month of December. So in the interest rate here in Vietnam, they kind of parallel with the US interest rate. So whenever the interest rate really high in the US, they kind of follow the interest rate. So in December, I think the interest rate for 6 months, it was 9%. I did open a CD for 6 months with a 9% interest rate, okay? So, and another difference is that between the Techcom Bank here and the Vietcombank here is that they have the debit card here for us to use, and you got 1% cash back for using the debit card. And I think the debit card at the Vietcombank is only 0.5%. So that's the difference. So once again, the Techcom Bank here is good. For Vietnamese people like myself, I opened the Techcom Bank with the Vietnamese passport. They have a high interest rate. They have a good debit card system with the reward. I got 1% for using the debit card. However, for the USD account at Techcombank, their fee is a little bit high. It's just a little bit high for receiving the money and also withdraw the money compared to Vietcombank. So I like the Vietcombank better when in regard to transfer the USD from the US bank onto the USD account here at Vietcombank. Okay, and also the Vietcombank here is very friendly with foreigner. Okay, so if you have an account with them, and also another thing I need to mention is that if you transfer the US dollar onto here, so I'm not sure you're familiar with the FBAR, the Foreign Bank Account Report. So if you transfer, more than 10,000, and then you need to report the FBAR, and the due day or the deadline is similar with a tax day, which is April 15. We just finished filing our tax, and I also did my FBAR. The FBAR, you could do the online, you could sign electronic sign to signature, so it takes me less than 5 minutes. It's very simple. You don't have to pay any tax or anything like that. You file it. You let them know that you do have a foreign bank account. But once again, only if you have more than 10,000 US dollar. If you have $10,000 or less, you don't have to do that. And even though I did not pay any tax or anything like that, but if you forget or if you not do file it, and if they catch you, there will be a penalty. The penalty could be 50% of whatever you have in your account. Okay, so my advice: if you transfer more than $10,000, make sure you do the FBAR report. Just Google FBAR, and the website come up and they give you all the instruction. It's very simple. It takes me literally less than 5 minutes to fill it out. Okay, so the FBAR is, once again, if you are a US citizen, regardless whether you live in the US or abroad, if you have a foreign account that more than $10,000 in total value of all the accounts, I could have 4,000 in checking account, 4,000 in saving, and 4,000 in CD. That is 12,000. You have to report those. Okay, not just one account, but total accounts. Okay, and let's see what other thing is that I need to talk about. All right, so that is it. So if you have a question, please put in a comment. So once again, I recommend, and also that for transfer the money, all right, so I have Bank of America and few have Citibank. So the fee, and then we also have JAWSwap. So make sure you have to know what bank that is allowed to do wire transfer international. So for the JAWSwap that we have, for some reason I have not called them, but I don't see the option where I could wire transfer international. But for Citibank and Bank of America, they have that option, and the fee for Bank of America to wire transfer is $45 with no limit. It's just a fixed amount. And the fee to wire transfer international from Citibank is $35, and it limits at $50,000. And we did choose to go with the Citibank to wire transfer because we did not transfer over, 50,000 US dollar. And also another thing is that so Phil only have Citibank, but it's a saving account, so he did not have the debit card. One of the requirements to transfer the US dollar internationally, you need to have a debit card. I'm not sure why, but I believe that just for the verification. So at that time, we did not need the money right away. We was thinking a couple months what we did in advance. So they say, you cannot allow unless we have a debit card. So we asked them to issue the debit card, and they issued the debit card. And when we have that debit card, and then we allowed to do the wire transfer. So please make sure your bank account, have an option to transfer international. So the two banks that we have that could do that is Citibank and also Bank of America. And make sure you have a debit card, okay, before you do the wire transfer. Charge swap is very good. We have the charge swap here is that, you know, we don't withdraw money internationally at the ATM machine, but whatever, when you travel, you know, even in Europe or anywhere you withdraw, the whatever the debit fee that the bank charge you, charge swap will reimburse you at the end of the month. So that's one reason I recommend for charge swap, you know, for traveling, okay. But not for international wire transfer because they don't have that option, okay. All right, let's see what else here. I cannot think of anything else, but here's the bottom lines here, okay. To summarize up of everything, if you are a foreigner and you want to open a USD account, please come to Vietcombank, okay. And if you are Vietnamese American like myself, you know, you could have two accounts. You could, if you want a high interest rate, open a Techcom bank. They have very good interest rate, and you could do the USD account there too. You know, the fees a little bit higher compared to Vietcombank, but if you want a lower interest rate, I mean, you know, transfer fee, you know, open the Vietcombank, the USD account, okay. And so that is the two reasons that we have these two banks. And also that please do not, you know, make sure you have a USD account, because you could withdraw the USD account in US dollar, you know, pay like 0.2%. Like I say before, for 10,000 US dollar, I only pay 20 US dollar, that 0.2%. And then you have the best way to exchange, to sell your US dollar at the gold store. And if you go through any kind of like Western, you know, Union or any kind of broker, online brokerage, they will charge you a fee. Sometimes they waive the fee for you. However, the exchange rate is very, very low, and you lose up to 4 to 8%. Okay. And I know a lot of people did not know that. They thought, oh, I got 0% free from this sponsor that I listened to a YouTube. You know, but when you receive the Vietnamese dong, it's very low. With the same, you know, just say $10,000, you could exchange it for a best rate at the gold store. Okay, so always, you know, one thing I need to recommend you, if only one thing that you take away from this video, make sure you have a USD account. Okay, a USD account, and they allow you to withdraw the US dollar. And also, if you just travel here for 1 month or 2 months and you don't want to bother to open a USD account, which is okay too, but my recommend to you is that if you come from the US, you're allowed to carry 10,000 US dollar, and then you could bring that US dollar over here, and then you could exchange as you need it, okay? And one thing that we made a mistake, okay, and please do not make the mistake. If you carry the US dollar over here, make sure the money is very in mint condition. Make sure it's brand new. If you have an old you know, like wrinkle or fold US dollar and smaller bill, make sure you get $100 bill. Do not get 50 or 20. The smaller denomination or old money, you sell for less. They will, you know, deduct, you know, the fee, that they deduct the value. You don't get a full high maximum. If you have 100 US dollar bills that in mint or crisp or new condition, okay, we was not aware of that when we have our money and exchange. And you know, she got like, you know, 8,000, and then she said, okay, this 2,000, you know, we buy at, you know, 24.5 instead of 25,000. Okay, so be careful of that. We did not know that. We made a mistake. And another thing good about the Techcom bank here is that when we US a dollar, they give you brand new US currency too. And when I exchange them, you know, sold them at the gold store, and there's no issue at all. And the customer service from both bank, Techcom Bank and the Vietcombank are great. Everyone is nice and wonderful, very helpful. They speak English and they're very helpful to Phil and I. Okay. All right. So let's see what else. So once again, make sure you have the USD account, open the USD account, or bring US dollar here. And if you only want to, you come here for 30 days and you don't want to bother to open a USD account. Oh, another thing I need to mention is that a lot of people, when they see the interest here. So in the US, we both have saving account. I have a saving account with the interest now almost 5%, and Phil have had through a small bank called Republic Bank of Chicago, and Phil have a saving bank with Citibank almost like 4% here, which is okay. It's not that great, but the interest rate here is 9%, and I know a couple people, they think it's, the 9% is so great, and they invest. They sold a lot of US dollar and they put into the Vietnamese bank here, and that could be a mistake. And the reason I'm saying is that in Vietnam here, the US dollar is very strong, over time, like a year or 2 years, it's usually very strong. Sometimes within a year, the Vietnamese value, it could lose by 10% easily in 1 year, or even a few months. So just say you make 9% in 1 year, and then instead of keeping the US dollar at 4% in the US account, and then you sell all of US dollar and you put in the Vietnamese dong, and you have the Vietnamese saving account, and then you got 9%, but over 1 year your Vietnamese actually go down. Is the the value is not great, but the dollar is strong, so you lose money that way. Just say the Vietnamese dong value go down 10%, but you make 9%, so basically you even out, you're losing money. So be careful with that. I do have a small saving account, but it's only short term, like 3%, and 3 months or 6 months. But also that I don't put a lot of money in Vietnamese saving account here. And also the USD account here, they do not allow interest at all for that reason, because they know that they will lose money if they give the saving account or interest checking account or CD in USD. They only have a USD checking account with no interest at all. Okay, so that's another thing I need to mention. So please be careful. Okay, be careful with the put all your US dollar into a saving account here in Vietnam, which is high, like 9%. And the reason you got a high interest rate over here, because the Vietnamese bank over here, they loan out money to the Vietnamese local people with very high interest. I think average about 12 to 15%. Whether you get a car loan or a property loan, they charge you 12 to 15% interest rate. Okay, and that's why they are able to give you 9% interest rate on your saving or your CD. Okay, but once again, with the thing with the Vietnamese dong, the value is very fluctuated, and it's with the long term it might go down the value, and the dollar it seems to be historical, it's very strong here. Okay, so be careful with that. Okay, so I think that is it. I hope through this video you have a better understanding here about a bank here in Vietnam, and how you feel assured and confident to open a USD account, and what USD account you need to open, or what bank you need to open, and what bank is is friendly or easy for foreigner. Okay, so we have two banks. Once again, the Vietcombank is very foreigner friendly, and also have a very low interest rate for transfer USD onto this Vietcombank, and also the withdrawal. So I love that about the Vietcombank. For the Techcom Bank, the only thing I like it because they have the high interest rate for saving. But once again, I only do a small portion or short term, like 3 months or 6 months. Last 2 months ago in December, I did the 6 months. I got 9%. and you know, I do the 3 months. Usually I do the 3 months. Just say every 3 months I have to pay for my rent for 3 months, like $650 a month, so about $1950. For 3 months, I put $2,000 in there, you know, and I got like 6.5% or something like that for 3 months. So every 3 months, I withdraw that, you know, to pay for my rent, and I got that, you know, 6.3%. The 6.3% that per year, not per month. Okay, so you divide that by 12 months, and that's what the interest I got. Okay, so they have a high interest rate. You know, and also now that they have the debit card here, and you use the debit card wherever you receive, I mean wherever the business they accept a credit card, you got 1% cash back. All right, another thing I need to mention is the, you know, the debit card system here, or credit card system here in Vietnam. Majority of the business here, they do accept credit card. Very few places like supermarket, you know, Western, you know, restaurant, you know, they do accept credit card, but majority, everything else, they don't accept credit card here. So people think that cash, you know, they accept cash, and they think that oh, you have to carry a lot of cash, but actually you don't. You could transfer. They have an app here, and by the way, the app here between those two banks, the Techcom Bank and the Vietcombank, they are very friendly user. It's very easy to use. Phil use them and he love it. There's no issue at all. The only one difference I noticed between the app in the US bank and the app here in Vietnam bank is that I cannot, like the US bank, for say, for example, charge swap, right? If I have a linked account between the bank, just say my charge swap with my Bank of America or Citibank, I could request money from Bank of America, or I could request the money from Citibank from my charge swap app. The app here, they only allow to transfer the money out, but they don't allow to request money from other bank. Okay, that's one thing I noticed the difference. But here, just say, you know, majority business here, they don't accept credit card, but you don't have to carry cash. You just go there and, you know, you tell them, hey, can I transfer the money for this transaction, for this transaction? Like you say, you buy a chair or furniture or whatever, do a haircut, you do nail or whatever. They provide you either a QR code to scan, or you provide your account number, you transfer instantly. You don't have to carry cash at all, and those are free also. And also the ATM machine here is also, fee is also very cheap. I think about 4 or 5 cents per transaction, so it's not that great. But normally we don't do the ATM machine. We just go to the bank to withdraw the money. And another difference is that the Techcom Bank, they allow you to withdraw like $800 US per day. The Vietcombank, they allow only like $400 US a day. At the ATM machine, but if you go to the branch, you could, I think, withdraw whatever the, you know, the amount that you have at your bank. Okay, so the banking system is great. It's very easy. It's very friendly. Great customer service. Okay, so I try to see anything else, but once again, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you have a USD account. Please do not use, you know, the broker online, the independent broker online, because though they, you know, even though they have a low fee, you know, or they tell you they waive you the fee, but and then they give you a very, very bad exchange rate that you lose from 4 to 8%. Okay, if you have the USD account, you only pay 0.2%. Okay, through the Vietcombank. But when you exchange, when you sell your USD, it's very, very good price. Okay, so you don't lose money. You know, for $100 or $200, no big deal. But you have a lot of transaction. You know, when you purchase a car or you purchase a house, or things like that, that will add up, and you lose 8% of 10,000. That's a lot. Or even 8% of 100,000, that you lose $8,000 US already. Okay, so please be careful with that. Okay, with the exchange rate here. Okay, so make sure you have a USD account. Very easy to open. For foreigner, go to Vietcombank. For Vietnamese, You can also go to Vietcombank if you have a USD account. But if you want a high interest rate for short term, go to the Techcom bank. Okay, so that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any question, please put in a comment. I will try to answer all your comment or your question. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you at the very next video. Not sure what the next video going to be, but I talk to you later. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.